Right, this is Catch-22, and it's a novel by Joseph Heller. That's a fact. That's true, that is. I don't have to verify that at all. It says so right here. It's actually a really good novel, and it is the only novel I have read twice. The interesting thing is, it's almost identical to this, which is the Silmarillion by J.R.R. Tolkien. I mean, look, they both got dust jackets, which are almost falling apart. Well, you can't see that there. They've got dust jackets, which are almost falling apart. There you go. Now on two. Look at that dust jacket falling apart. If you both open them up, they've both got these really sort of hard bits. It's hard board here and here. Then they get all these papery bits here. They're roughly the same height. Some really slightly bigger, some really slightly darker as well. I don't know if that's significant. They are roughly the same thickness, and of course, you may be wanting to know that they've got these bits on them. These little black marks here. They're all made of ink. They've both got them exactly the same. So pretty much these two items are identical, except for when you start reading them. And when I'm reading them, these little black marks, I am converting, I'm decoding into words, into a verbal format. I have to say, when I do that, this book has made me laugh so many times. This is why I had to read it a second time, because I was actually, I wanted to go back. I was sorry when it was finished. For a book that is actually quite bleak, it is incredibly funny. There's lots and lots of jokes in there. Silmarillion didn't make me laugh once. Now, and also they got completely different stories. But the point is, the difference between them isn't physical. There's no physical difference between them. I mean, you could say that the little ink symbols that are inside them are in a slightly different order, but there's probably roughly about as many of each symbol as well. It's not what they're physically like that makes the difference, it's what they mean. So what am I talking about here? Well, what I'm talking about here is this is hardware. When I say it's hardware, it physically exists. But the story is software. It only exists up here. Now, people have a big problem with the idea of something only exists up here, it doesn't exist at all. And yet, the thing that only exists up here is the important difference between this and this. And that's hardware and software. And your brain and mind are like that. Your brain is hardware, your mind is software. That's your brain. But Catch-22, which is a classic, and the Silmarillion, which is, I suppose it's a classic as well, is software. It didn't make me laugh, but it did give Fish the name for his band, the Silm. Oh, anyway, I'm going to come back to you about that. But anyway, that is that's a little starting point there. I'm going to be doing 22 push-ups in a moment, and I'll be doing 22 push-ups because I want to raise awareness about the increased chances of suicide associated with veterans. particularly veterans who are adapting to civilian life after after military life or service life, due to mental health issues, including but not exclusively post-traumatic stress. So there was a slight difference there between the software that you find in the book and the software in your mind, and that is that the software in your mind is constantly being rewritten, is constantly changing, whereas the software inside a book is permanent, it's fixed. Having said that, it may be that you read it twice and actually you appreciate the book in a different way each time. When I said that this is the only novel I've read twice, that's a bit of a lie, because I have actually the first few chapters of this I read twice. It's just the first time I got bored of it, and then I read it again when I was a bit older. And there are certain films that I appreciate differently each time I see them. The Graduate's a film I've seen many times, for example, and every time I've seen it I've kind of picked up on a different aspect of the story. Now what was that all about was the fact that I wanted to destigmatize the talking therapies, and I think there's a reason why people prefer physical therapies and physical illness to talking therapies and mental illness, and that is because physical illness is visible. It's physical. It's just like the crappy dust jackets, and this one's particularly bad. Look at that. Look at that. I could repair that with sellotape, and that would physically have improved that book, but it wouldn't have improved the novel. The novel will be just as good. I could get rid of the dust jacket completely. It'll still be a fantastic novel. Yes, people have a problem with the fact that the mind doesn't physically exist. So even when they have a problem with their mind, they'd rather have it thought of as a problem with their brain, which is why when they're looking for a solution for it, they might prefer pills, because pills physically exist. And I could even make alterations to the software in here with something physical. I could use a black marker pen and cross words out randomly. But the thing is, the important thing about this book was verbal, right? It was what is verbally encoded in this book that made me laugh. So why is it a problem that talking therapies are purely verbal? Why is it difficult for us to imagine that a problem can be solved through a talking therapy such as counselling or CBT? Anyway, the reason why I wanted to do that is I've been to counselling 4 times in my life, and 2 of them were really, really good. I mean, they were fantastic. They were, I wouldn't say they were as good as Catch-22, but they were certainly better than the Silmarillion. No, it's not that bad a book. It's not that bad a book. It's not that bad a book. Well, I got a really crap book here. Oh, I tend to keep the really crap books. I tend to yeah, I don't really have that many really crap books. If a book's really crap, I'll give it away. So I don't know why I'm picking on Tolkien. He's alright. Bit wordy. Bit pretentious. I've lost train of where I was speaking there, where I was going with that. Distracted myself. So yeah, where I was going with that was, I remember now. Yes, 2 of them were really good. One of them was a bit meh. The reason it was a bit meh is because she was a new counsellor and she was in training, and she was a bit faddy with some of her ideas, to get me to draw pictures and then interpret them and things like that. But
in the first few sessions, and then she actually settled down to proper normal counselling after that, and she was better, but she wasn't as good as the two that were really good, which was the first one and the most recent one. And then the third one was blooming awful. She really was awful. I just got I got a very early impression that she didn't like me, and when I was talking to her, I don't know, there was something about her eyes that seemed judging to me. So I never really trusted her enough to open up. I don't remember very much about that particular counselling session at all. I don't even know if I kept it up. This was a long time ago. We're probably talking about we're probably talking about 15 years ago. You know. So, so what I'm saying is that some counsellors are really good, and some aren't. So I'm not bigging up counsellors as always being, or counselling always being as brilliant, but it can sometimes be brilliant. That's where I was going with that. Hopefully, when I edit this back in, I can make this somehow follow the train of the rest of what was completely tangential nonsense there. Right. So the point I was making is, if the really significant thing about a book is what is verbal about it, then I don't see there's a problem with the idea that actually the solution for an issue you may have with living may actually lie in something that is verbal, and therefore the stuff that the mind is made up of. And the reason I brought all that up was because I was reading this article here. I shall read to you now. If you've been on social media at all these past few weeks, and I know you have because you're here. See, I already know that about you. I don't even know your name, but I know you've been on social media. Does that spook you? Right, your feed has likely been... I might know your name, but I don't know which one of you it is watching this right now, so even if I do know your name, I don't... Anyway, fuck it. Your feed has likely been full of friends participating in the 22 push-up challenge. The viral campaign asked participants to drop and give 22, or however many you can muster, to raise awareness for veterans' mental health. Participants asked to help work through the campaign's goal of reaching a total count of 22 million push-ups worldwide. Not all by me, I won't do all of those. Screw that. 22 times 22, whatever that is. Some hundreds. Over 400 and something. I don't know exactly. Celebs like Chris Pratt, never heard of him. Anna Faris, never heard of her. And Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, I believe I have heard of him. I don't know what he does, but I've heard of him. Posted about the challenge, which was launched by organisation 22 Kill. They have a website. The challenge is named after the sobering fact that 22 veterans commit suicide each day. While there is no singular reason a veteran may have thoughts of suicide, everyone's experience is different. It can often have to do with the difficulty that comes along with adjusting back to civilian life after deployment. See, they're not going for the PTS thing here. They're actually, that is more accurate. I mean, we do know it is adjusting back to civilian life because the suicides tend to occur in the first 3 years after returning to civilian life. I ultimately think the root of all these sorts of issues lies in what's referred to as the military-civilian divide. Yared Sturk, a Marine Corps veteran and the program manager of veteran outreach at NYU Langone Medical Center, tells Self. Self is the name of the magazine that this article's in, by the way. So when I said self, I didn't mean me. I didn't mean myself. I mean their self. Magazine. Self. Self. Anyway, there are two different worlds out there that really don't know how each other exist, and it's sort of unnatural that problems will result, Stirk says. I look back at my own transition issues. Despite earning both a bachelor's and a master's degree under the GI Bill, I was unemployed or underemployed for quite a bit of time. On top of having such a rough time, Stirk felt alienated by those around him who didn't understand what he was going through. Every person I met was sure to give me a thank you for your service while missing the point that I was basically screaming for help. These are exactly the kind of struggles that the 22 push-up challenge is opening participants' eyes to. While many have compared the challenge to the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge, the significant difference in the two is while the Ice Bucket Challenge was part of a fundraiser to fight the disease, the 22 push-up challenge aims only to raise awareness. Awareness is great, but now that challenge has gotten the world's attention over a dire issue, it's tough to know how to actually help. Below, a few actions that can make a difference to the life of veterans. It then lists the organisations that you could be donating time or money to, none of which are 22 killed. The NYC Veterans Alliance aims to improve veterans communities by connecting them with organisations and advocating for policies that will make their lives easier. I assume NYC stands for New York City, does it? Might be relevant. Team Red, White and Blue improves veterans' lives by helping them connect with their communities through social and physical activity. 4 Block is dedicated to helping post 9/11 veterans find a career path that matches their skills. They would then repeat exactly the same quote from Stirk that they've already repeated. Who edited this? Oh, he does say a bit more. When I graduated and was looking for work, I had a tough time, said Stirk. I didn't know anyone who could help me out, and so I was stuck with applying to random jobs online that like 10,000 other people would also apply to. 4 Block would hold these networking type meetings at different major companies where I got to meet real people, HR people, people looking to hire veterans. The mission continues, empowers veterans adjusting back into civilian life by helping them to make a difference in the community. Anyway, that was 1. 2, be a good friend, family member or neighbour to the veterans in your life, which is talking about social support and stuff. And the thing that I wanted to pick up on was particularly 3, which was do your part to end the stigmas surrounding mental health. While not all veterans suffer mental health issues, there is a high prevalence of post-traumatic stress disorder among veterans and among the general population. Veterans may also be living with depression or wishing they could talk out their deployment experiences with a pro. Unfortunately, though, we live in a world that tends to stigmatise mental health issues and treatment, and that makes it harder for veterans and civilians too to seek mental health care that could vastly improve their lives. Mental health stigma continues to be a problem, Piatzak tells Self. For the stigma to truly lose its power, a major shift needs to happen in the way we discuss mental health. Promotion of a military and healthcare culture that facilitates mental health awareness, screening and treatment can help normalise concerns about the potential negative effects of seeking such treatment on one's self-image and career, Piatzak said. Of course, none of us can single-handedly make that change, but we can do so by speaking out in favour of mental health treatment and awareness. If you've had experiences with mental health treatment, speaking candidly about them, if you feel safe and comfortable doing so, be a great way to help fight back against the stigma and make others feel like they're not alone. Every voice makes a difference. Well, which is what I was doing, speaking candidly about mental health and mental health, my experiences with mental health and mental health treatments. There's a good website here called makeconnection.net. If you are a veteran, which is actually an excellent resource for finding information that relates to your experiences and local resources for mental health treatments. One of the reading from that earlier disorder, which I thought might be relevant to a change in circumstances, as in the change that occurs from going. A change in circumstances like a bereavement or losing your job. Okay, so I think that's it really. I was hoping that the idea of getting the idea that the software is not trivial, that just because it's not physical doesn't mean it's trivial, and just because a solution isn't physical either doesn't mean that it's not going to help. And so that's about it really for now. I think I'll do the press ups now. I think I've done enough talking. By the way, it was my brother's birthday yesterday and I forgot to wish him happy birthday, but I am wearing a t-shirt that he bought me. He bought me this for Christmas. I can't remember if it was this Christmas or the previous Christmas, but just hi Dave, sorry, I forgot your birthday. Happy birthday if you're watching. Right, I'm going to take my shoes off. Just bear with me one moment. So when I just said there in the captions, the software shit, I'm of course referring to the software on. Well, actually, it's not even just YouTube video creator. That's bad enough. So I found that I had no sounds for that particular thing because I had a problem with the actually a problem with the hardware, which was in terms of the microphone had suddenly stopped working and I had to reboot the computer and start up again. In a way, thank God it was the push-ups, because it meant that I didn't lose anything where I was actually saying anything of any value. Then again, it does mean that bit there you don't have any sound, because I'll certainly not going to do the push-ups again. And secondly, when I tried to do it, I tried to put a voiceover on there onto the push-ups and I couldn't do it. I recorded a sound clip and then YouTube, which I was using to do video editing, wasn't letting me upload it because it wasn't video. They would only let me upload video and they would only let me use audio that was on their own audio list. I don't understand what the fuck, why is it so complicated? And then I could only record, when I recorded sound on its own, I could only record it as an MP3, and then to make it part of a film using Windows Film Editor, that only uploads MP4. I mean, seriously, do you have to make this so complicated? Anyway, so there we go. So that's why I made a caption. So I said, it's the problem with the software. I meant the software in that bloody thing, not the software up here.
Alright, talking about the software up here and interfacing, I also had a thought about mental health services. Don't call it mental illness if you don't want to. It's not necessary to call it mental illness. This whole point of this video, I guess, was to destigmatize mental. Nothing wrong with mental. You have, if you have difficulties which are mental, so what? It's trivial. The mental's the interesting bit, right? It's not this stuff. It's this stuff, right? Sorry, it's this stuff, right? So that's the point. Was that the mental is the important bit. It's not trivial, and there's no reason to think that counselling is trivial. However, I felt that maybe this stigmatization is around illness. And I was going to call it illness, you don't know. It's a crisis. And crisis is a stage of growth. You know, you go from one stage to another, and with each stage of growth, there's growing pains, and life's a journey. And then I began wondering, but the mental health service insists upon calling it illness, don't they? You know, and they names all different types of mental illness. And I suppose that's their language game. And I guess you've got to play their language game to get if you're seeking help. Maybe there's another way. Who knows? And then that started to make I think, oh my god, I'm starting to sound like Artie Lang. Well, in a way, I wish. Artie Lang was fantastic, man. But anyway, let's not talk any further. I've talked too much already. That's it. I've got another 19 of these to do, so even if I am having other ideas up here, I don't want to start. I don't want to waste them. There's a whole other things I want to talk about. Anyway, so good morning. Bloody video editing, I was pain in the ass. Yeah, so good morning. I need to get some sleep now because I've got work in the evening. Such is my topsy-turvy life. Right, so cheerio. Bye-bye.